What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. This is the Hendersonville League Cup round number 2. And on the left, we actually have myself, Josh, quick and marking. And on the right, we have James Arnold. And this should be an interesting matchup. James has done really well this season, making it multiple day 2 at regionals. And as you see, there's a Decidueye in my hand when I mulligan. So guys, you gotta know by now, I am playing Decidueye, Vileplume. No big secret, probably my favorite deck out there, 100% out right now. You see me shuffling, you see a Vileplume just sitting there. Alright guys, so we're going to see what happens. What is James playing? Right now I see a Trainer's Mail in his hand. I know he had a Vileplume last game as well, and I do apologize for that. I didn't know what people were playing when we started round 1, and then going round 2, I didn't know we had another Vileplume player. I mean, I did know we had a Vileplume player, but I didn't know we had a back-to-back Vileplume. And here we go, guys. There's the handshake, and here we go. Let's see what happens. We'll see James is playing a Darkrai deck, so he does have a turn of using trainer cards. So is he a Trainer's Mail? Look at the top 4 cards of his hand. Looks like he has maybe an N in his hand. Maybe he wants to grab the N. I think that's what I saw. So, yep, there's an N going to his hand. And does he want to play a Dark Energy Deactive? I mean, imagine he wants to play the N here to give him a new hand of 6 so that way he can find more Darkrai's. Maybe some Max Elixirs, a VS Seeker. Just try to use as many item cards as you can ASAP before a Vileplume come out and play, because as soon as that Vileplume comes down, it's a whole different ball game. And I just now noticed is I like how the Team Fish Knuckles map blends into the table. That's really cool there. But players are gonna shuffle up. They're gonna get 6 new cards. And what can James find here? Can he find another Darkrai? Can he find some Max Elixirs? Maybe some more Trainer's Mail? VS Seeker. I do see a Fighting Field going to the active. Okay. And looks like we might see a pass on my turn. Alright, so let's see what kind of crazy start can I have. So he's top picking Oddish, Love Ball. We're going to look through our deck to see what's all in there. See what how many Decidueyes are prized. We're going to see Dartrexes. We're going to see Vileplume, Glooms, what attackers are prized. They receive a Rowlet coming down. There's already an Oddish in my hand, so we really don't need to grab more than one Oddish. Like I said earlier, you really just grab the one Vileplume and you get set up and then you're good to go. If they do knock it out, we have 2 Revitalizers. You can get another Vileplume by itself down as well. There's a lot of different outs to this, okay? So we see a Rowlet coming down. We see an Oddish coming down as well. Trainer's Mail. Look at the top cards of my deck. Love Ball, Oddish, Shaman, and looks like a DC was the last card. So we'll see a Love Ball, probably grabbing another Rowlet. So we have 3 Rowlets coming down turn number 1. Unless I decide to grab somebody else, maybe the Jirachi, maybe a Dartrex. Obviously, I don't have a forest of giant plants. Or I would grab a Dartrex ASAP. And I'm going to look through my deck one more time to see what do I want to grab here. And there, yep, there's another Rowlet coming down. So turn 1 right now, we have 3 Rowlets. We have an Oddish. And, alright, so we're going to look and see what do we want to do. Do we have an Ultra Ball for a Shaman? Do we have the Forest of Giant Plants? As you see, there is a Gloom just sitting in my hand, but can we find a Forest of Giant Plants? And no, we're going to see a pass on to James' turn, and James will be able to take a knockout here. Oh, no. Yeah, he will be able to take a knockout. He'll do 70 damage, okay. So we see a Dark Energy go to the active. And yeah, both players not really doing too much, unfortunately, alright. So let's see, James does have a Delinquent in his hand. He's got a Perilous City, so we see a Perilous City coming down, okay. And we'll see a Delinquent, discarding Stadium, discarding 3 cards out of my hand. Let's see what I discard here, and I discard 2 Glooms, a Dartrex. Alrighty, so as you see, I had 2 Dartrexes, and I had a Dartrex and 2 Glooms in my hand. We'll see a Grass Synergy, maybe to the bench Rowlet. I'm going to put the active as Sycamore, discard my hand, draw 7 new cards. We did have a Sycamore, but obviously I did not opt to play it. We'll see a Trainer's Mail, look at top cards of my deck, and do not find anything. Now, we could have played a Love Ball to maybe grab another Rowlet, maybe a Dartrex, but it's always weird. We could have thinned the deck out by 1. Maybe draw 1 less card. And then we see another Trainer's Mail. Do we find a Forest? And there's a Forest of Giant Plants, a Flowstone as well, and a Lysander. And you see James saying, shucks. He did the whole finger snap saying, oh man, this is not going to be good. He found a Forest. What's going to happen here? We'll have to find out here in a second. So Forest of Giant Plants coming down. We see a Love Ball. Will it grab a Gloom or a Dartrex? Probably a Dartrex. like I said in the last video, you really want to get out your attacker ASAP. So we see an Ultra Ball discarding 2 grass energies, which does seem bad, but we do have the Hollow Hunt to get back those grass energies. And that's why like some lists are playing like 3 grass energies. That's really low to me. I don't like the 3 grass energies that some people do play. And of course we have a Shame in our hand and going to set up for 6 new cards. And can we find a Gloom and a Vileplume? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, we do not have a Gloom. We don't have a Vileplume. So right now we're gonna see a Hollow Hunt getting back 3 cards out of our discard pile. One probably being a Grass Energy, then a Gloom, and then maybe a DCE and or the Darkrai. Let's see. Let's say I'm gonna go for the Darkrai and the Darkrai and Gloom. Okay. So I'm going to pass on to James' turn, and James, what does he have here? He hasn't really done too much these past couple turns. He, played it in, and then he delinquent, and he's kind of just been sitting here, but now he has to face down his 240 HP Pokemon, and you're going to notice immediately that I forgot to Feather Arrow that last turn. I got the Decidueye down. I was just so excited, and we see James, right now he's just going to put a Dark Energy active, do Dark Pulse for 20, 40, 60, 80, 90 damage, so things are not going James's way, unfortunately, right now. Alright, so yeah, we'll see a 90 damage coming out from this Dark Pulse, which is great for us. I mean, we're fine with this. We thought like a Jirachi, okay. And we see a Dartrex, a Decidueye, we have a DC to the active, we have Gloom, we have a Tauros putting that down as well, and we will see a Sycamore discarding that Grass Energy, and it looks like another DC as well. So we're going to get 7 new cards. Do we find a Vileplume? And right now I don't see one in our hand. I do see a Trainer's Mail, but I don't see an Ultra Ball. But right now we could double Feather Arrow doing 40 to the active, plus a Razor Leaf doing 130. Which means next turn we could take the knockout and the game if that does happen. So we do have an Ultra Ball discarding a Shaman and a Trainer's Mail, and we will see good old Vileplume hitting the field. And James has had 3 turns to use item cards, and we will see that Vileplume coming down to the field. We'll see double Feather Arrow to the active, and we'll see a Rage Leaf for 90, bringing up to 130 damage. Alrighty, so what can James find here? If he does not find anything, he will lose the game. We see James just scooping there, saying, hey, I don't have anything. That in really hurt James a lot. Like, he in and just drew into nothing. Oh, my goodness. But on to game number 2, I mean, basically the big thing is, can James play some... We didn't see a Max Elixir. All we saw was that one in and then Delinquent. So he played, 2 supporter cards out of 4 turns. No Shamans, no Ultra Balls, just nothing, which is crazy. But it does happen to Pokemon. It can happen to any deck. Decks can break like that. I imagine James had a bunch of Dark Energies in his hand, which was unplayable, and just couldn't do anything, which is very unfortunate. But on to game number 2, and James, once again, will go first. He will be able to use his item cards if he can find them, like Max Elixirs and Trainer's Balls and Ultra Balls and VS Seekers. Put supporter cards back in his hand. If he does play a supporter card, he can get another one back into his hand. And let's see what happens. James is going to get his GX counter out. Oh man, you don't know. Maybe he plays that spicy Tauros. And here we go. Gonna look, and looks like we start a Shaman on my side of the field. And alright, so here we go. Price cards are coming out. Both going to get 6. You see James pointing to that GX counter, saying you don't know what's going to happen. And here we go, and we both start Shaman. Alright, so let's see what does James do. We see a Dark Energy to the active. We see it in. Both players are going to shuffle up, so we see a pattern of last game where we saw James, have a Dark Energy, a Darkrai attach a Dark and in, and then drew to nothing. And does he find anything with this in? That is the $1 million question right now. So both of us are going to shuffle up, and draw to number of cards equal to number of price cards, which we both have 6. Is a brand new game, and time to party. What can James find? And we see it. So he does find a Darkrai. Okay, does he find a Max Elixir? And let's see here. What's that one card in his hand? We see a Hoopa going to use Scoundrelling Search for 3 new EX Pokemon, which can find 2 Darkrai's and a Shaman. So right now, James is doing okay. He found a Hoopa, a Darkrai, still hasn't played a Trainer card outside of that. We see 2 Darkrai's coming down, which either means his other Shaman is prized, or he has it in his hand. Alright, so we see a VS Secret Fort in, going back into his hand. And we'll see a pass on my turn, so his Shaman must be prized if he opted to do that. So on my turn, let's see, can we find the Pokemon? We see a Forest of Giant Plants, we see two Dartrix, a Tauros, and an N. Gonna give both of us a new hand of 6. Now this Tauros might not seem scary, but if we Scatter Turn to Tauros, we make it where James has to make a decision. Do I swing it to Tauros? If I do swing, he can Rage for a ton of damage. And even if he doesn't swing, well, we can keep Horn attacking for 60, and then 60, and then 60, and 60, and put a lot of pressure on his Pokemon, which is why I love Tauros in this deck. So, my turn, we see when I get a Dartrix, an Ultra Ball, Floatstone. I have a bunch of different options in my hand right now. So, let's say we're seeing Ultra Ball discarding a Decidueye and a Gloom, which might seem bad, but you gotta remember we do have Revitalizer in our deck. So let's see what kind of route do we get here. Right now the hand does not look good enough to get out a Decidueye, but anything can happen. We'll see Ultra Ball discarding a Flowstone and a Forest of Giant Plants. Gonna grab probably an Oddish, I imagine, or do we go for a Dartrix? Let's see, what do we try to go for? We will see a a Rowlet coming down, and once again, I stick with my theory is you have to find a Decidueye first. You want to go Decidueye and then Vileplume. You want to get your attacker out first. If you do this, you have a way to attack and all that kind of good stuff. I have seen most people, just get out Vileplume and then they can't attack because they don't have a Decidueye anymore. So you need to get out this Decidueye ASAP. So see a Rowlet and a Shaman for 6 new cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright. So we do have a turn 1 Decidueye. As you see, we have a Love Ball for a Dartrix. Alright, so we see a Dartrix coming down. We have a Decidueye in hand. We can start using Feather Arrow and put some pressure on some Darkrai's. But right now, we do not have a Vileplume. We don't have a Gloom in play. We see a Decidueye, Rowlet, and we'll see Feather Arrow. Or maybe I forget again. Hopefully I forget. That'd be really cool. And gonna put 20 on the bench, one of the bench Darkrai's, okay. And we'll see a pass on the James turn. Alright, so we end James earlier, getting the N out of his hand, and he has a Dark Energy going to the bench Darkrai, okay. And does he have Max Elixirs, Trainer Spell, Ultra Balls? What does James do here? And gonna put an EXP share on that bench Darkrai. And we're just gonna pass on to my turn. Wow. Alright, so we found a Love Ball. With this Love Ball, we'll most likely grab an Oddish. I should grab an Oddish there. So, yep, Oddish coming to our hand. We do have a Sycamore. We can Sycamore, discard our hand, draw on 6 new cards. And can we find a Vileplume? We have a Vileplume in our hand, but no Gloom. So we get 7 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there we go. 7 new cards going to our hand. We see a Vileplume. We see a bunch of different options in our hand right now to use with these. I think we have 2 Revitalizers actually. So Revitalizer, get back. Well, we already have a Gloom in our hand, I think. We'll see a Dartrix and a Vileplume. Okay. We'll see. Let's see how we want to do this. A Gloom. We'll see a Vileplume. And Feather Arrow to the Darkrai with the 20 with the Dark Energy, and we'll pass on to James' turn. Alrighty, so we do have a Decidueye in our hand. But we gotta find a Dartrix. We see a Dark Energy going to the Darkrai, okay. And will James retreat? And we'll see retreat. We'll see Dark Pulse for 60 damage, unless he has a Lifesaver to knock out a Rowlet. And let's see. Thanks, Tracy. Alright, so let's see, what does James decide? He looks like he does have a Lifesaver in hand. Does he play it? And no, just going to Dark Pulse for 60, trying to knock out this active Shaman. Now we do have a Sycamore. We can discard our hand, draw on 7 new cards, and do we find a DCE to pick up the Shaman? We see a Dartrix, Grass, and a DCE. So now we got a DCE on the Shaman. We'll put down a Dartrix. We will Feather Arrow probably to the bench, to the active. And we're going to Scatter Turn for 30, promote the Tauros most likely, saying, hey, if you hit this Tauros, you're going to get knocked out. I'm going to Rage you. 6, 7, 8, 9, 24 to 60, 80. Yeah, well, that's 100 damage. We'll take it a knockout for sure next turn if he does attack here. And let's see, what does James decide to do? Now, remember, he does have the Lifesaver hand. Going to Lifesaver, bring up, looks like the Dartrix, taking a knockout, going down to 5 price cards. And let's see, who do we set up here? We could set up the Shaman and Sky Return for 30, which doesn't seem like a bad play, but looks like we were going to go for a Horn Attack instead. Okay. So we'll see a DC going to the active. We will see a Feather Arrow to the bench. Darkrai with the 1 energy, and will Horn Attack for 60 damage. Now this does put pressure on James, because next turn we can just Horn Attack for the knockout and start putting more pressure on that bench Darkrai with the EXP share. So we'll see a Darkrai go to that bench Darkrai, okay. And does James have another Lysander? Maybe an N. And let's see, what does he have here? What's that one card in his hand he's debating about playing? And let's see, he's counting right now, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. He's doing 100 damage right now. Okay. Does he go for a Dark Pulse? If he does, we will take a knockout for sure. Alright, looks like he has a Hex Maniac in hand. He's debating when does he use the Hex. That's the big question. So we are just see a Dark Pulse for 100 damage. And on my turn, we have a Trainer's Mill. We got a Grass Energy. Put a Grass Energy on that bench. Decidueye, put 20 more damage on that bench Darkrai. And we will Horn Attack for the knockout. That Darkrai will retain an energy thanks to EXP share. And we'll see James send the Darkrai with the 2 energies. Right now, that Darkrai is doing 20, 40, 60, 80, which does knock out a Taurus, unfortunately. But you got to start thinking we're slowly getting in the driver's seat. James can't really put down that many energies anymore. And we'll see it end. Both of us will get new hands. So right now, with the Feather Arrow plus a Razor Leaf, we do 110, which brings up to 150. What we really need to find is another Decidueye. If we find another Decidueye, well, we have the potential to take a knockout next turn with a Razor Leaf, double Feather Arrow, and then a Razor Leaf the following turn, which is really great. And that's what we need to find is a 1-1-1 Decidueye line right now. If we don't, I think we're still okay. Looks like we do not find it. We find a Shaman, a DCE, some other stuff. We see a Dark and go to Darkrai, and we'll see a Dark Pulse for the knockout. And on my turn, I'm going to send in the Decidueye. We top deck an N, okay. We'll put a DC in the active and play an N, gives us this new hands of 3. Now, James can swing this turn for 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Well, we attack for 90, then, next turn, whatever. But James has to retreat this Darkrai unless he finds, like, an Olympia or a Hax plus Escape Rope. That's his only way out to retreating. Alright, so, wait, I guess I have 4 cards left, yeah. Alright, so James has 3, I have 4. So we'll see a Feather to the bench Darkrai, and we'll see a Dark Pulse, okay. I mean, not Dark Pulse, a Razor Leaf. Alright, so on to James, they're going to draw a card, and what can James start doing here? I guess, realistically, I should have put like 20 damage on the Shaman, but we've top deck a Decidueye, which doesn't really help us too much. We'll see another Feather Arrow to the bench Darkrai, and we had to find another Decidueye here to knock out the bench Darkrai next turn. And do we find one? I see a Rowlet, I see a Dartrix, and I see a Decidueye, and that will pretty much help us win the game, because we'll take a knock on the active, and that Darkrai could come up, but right now that Darkrai's only doing 20, 40, 60, which doesn't knock us out. There's a DC going to the bench Dartrix, and we'll see another Rowlet hit in the field, and we will see a knockout going down to 2 prize cards. So James, going to put that Darkrai the 2 energies, but he can't take a knockout. And there we go, James conceded the game. Notice that he cannot win this game. And there we go. There's the Decidueye Vileplume versus Darkrai. And there's going to be a couple of Decidueye games for sure. It's one of the most popular decks going into this weekend. But it's also fun. It's always fun to see people play Decidueye. I think it is. And see like little math mistakes. Like, why was a stack of damage on that active Darkrai? I don't know. That's a little bit of, some stuff you learn. But there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And we'll see you around number 3 of the Henderson League Cup. Alrighty. Bye. Alright guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to our 3 sponsors, 60 Cards, Yeti Gaming, and the Pokemon Company International. Links to everything will be down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty.